Hi, everyone. My name is Stefanie Emrich, and I'm with Boys Town Press. And today we are going to talk with two of our new Boys Town Press authors, Jen Kennedy and Wendy Falk. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. That's awesome.
So we're so excited. We have lots to talk about today. We have your new book to talk about, all of that. But first, I would love if you would just start by introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, and let us get to know you.
Go ahead.
Oh, I get to go first.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm Wendy Falk, and I'm about to head into my 24th year as an educator. I started my career with my bachelor's in science and education from UW-Oshkosh here in Wisconsin, and I knew that I wanted to be an English teacher, and so I was licensed 612, and I'm also licensed in journalism. And I spent about 14 years in the classroom just teaching, really emphasizing writing. I'm all about writing. I love literature, but then I started to realize that my students wanted more. So of my time that I couldn't give. So I got my master's in counseling from Lakeland University. And so I've been working as a school counselor ever since. Because of that role, I have taught every single grade level between kindergarten and university level, because I'm also an adjunct professor in a master's of counseling program locally. So I can honestly tell you I've taught every grade.
Awesome.
I'm Jen Kennedy, and I got my master's from the University of Illinois. But I actually started my career out in criminal justice, kind of that avenue, more the investigative side. And then ended up one day, I've moved a few times. So moved and ended up getting a job at a juvenile detention center. And that kind of led me down the path of, you know what, I really, really like working with children and youth, juveniles. And that kind of led me back to school. And then I became a school social worker. So I've been doing that for quite some time, and just kind of went investigative to more of the just everyday wanting to be with kids. And then I'm also actually an adjunct professor with Wendy. So I have not taught all grades, but
close,
but pretty dang close.
And we both have done a lot, and over the course of our career, we're both certified a lot of different areas. I'm certified as a trauma trainer. Jen's certified in love and logic. I'm trained in conscious discipline. Like, that goes back and forth. So we do a lot of those things too.
Awesome. Amazing. What a wonderful breadth of experience and working with kids. And Jen, I know you are a native Nebraskan, and Boys Town is in Omaha, Nebraska. So have you ever been to Boys Town?
Oh, many times.
Yes.
So yes, born and raised in Omaha.
Yes.
And yes, I'm going to say, go Huskers.
That's right. Well, and you know that your backgrounds and your experience and everything what led you to you two to get connected?
Whoo! Wendy has nailed this story down, so I'm going to let her know.
I do. I remember these kinds of things. So first year as a counselor, and I was scared to death. It was my first big meeting, and I knew I was going to be working with the whole team. And so my administrators are there, just really important people all around the table. And it was our care team meeting. And so I was in this meeting, and I was just like, just please, dear Lord, do not let me screw up or say something dumb. And I was so nervous. And I finally spoke up in the meeting, suggesting us an action step we needed to take. And Jen just was in that meeting, and she looked across the table and she goes, I like you. It's really direct, and I'm like, okay. But it was this thing of, she recognized somebody was willing to speak up and say something that needed to be said, even if it might have been a little uncomfortable. And that was one of the first things we noticed about each other. And then the more we worked together, what was really funny is people would come up to her and say, okay, you remember I told you about this last week? And she goes, no, that was Wendy. And people got us confused all the time. We like to say we're a little loud, a little boisterous. And so people get us confused all the time. But we've been asked if we're sisters. We've, all kinds of things. So that's where it started. Working together as the school social worker and school counselor team. And we followed each other to a couple
different
buildings.
Schools. When you work in our line of work, you end up working at a couple different schools throughout the school year. And so we ended up, we tag teamed. We had a couple of schools together, and I think that's where, I shouldn't say I think, I know that's where we built our friendship and more importantly, the trust. I knew that if I couldn't handle a situation, or I just knew that I wasn't the right fit to work with this set of parents or these kiddos, that I could just what we call tag out. And so I'd pass it on to Win, and she would take over, or vice versa. So the trust was definitely built right then and there.